So, welcome to Gearing Up for Events, how to use technology to make an impact this summer in lacrosse, soccer, and field hockey spaces. My name is Jasmine, and I am a customer success manager at SportsRecruits. I was a Division I athlete at Pepperdine University, and I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. I'm also joined by Matt, who is the head of marketing for North America with Pixelot. So we're excited to talk to you guys. I know that this is a really big time in your respective sports, and hopefully you'll walk away from this webinar feeling a little bit more prepared with a better understanding of what to expect. All right, just to look at an agenda for what we're going to go through tonight, we're going to start by talking about preparing for your events. We'll then talk about best practices during and after events, as well as general recruiting best practices throughout your entire recruiting process. At the end today, we will have time for a recap and a Q&A. So if you have any questions as we go, you're welcome to save them for the end, but you can also use the chat feature to write in your questions, and we will do our best to get answers to you today. As a reminder, because I saw some people just joined, this will be recorded and we will get a recording to you within the next 48 hours. All right, let's get started with preparing for events. So as you guys are getting ready for your events, these could be tournaments, games, showcases. There are three main things you want to make sure you're doing to set yourself up for success. First is building and updating your profile. So you should think of your sports recruits, IM, IWLCA recruits, NFHCA recruits profiles as your recruiting resume. This means you want to have the most up-to-date information possible for college coaches. If you're using multiple recruiting spaces, you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, any place that you're potentially interacting with college coaches, you also want to make sure that your information there is up to date. Next, you're going to want to build your favorite schools list. So adding schools to your favorites list increases the odds of appearing in college coach searches. I know some of you are probably like, I have a favorites list in my head or on a piece of paper somewhere, but we really want to encourage you to get those into SportsRecruits because college coaches are able to see which athletes are interested in them. And then last, no athlete should ever show up to an event completely unknown to college coaches. College coaches are not going to show up at your door and knock on the door and be like, hey, come play for us. You've got to put yourself out there. And so consistently communicating with college coaches throughout the process is key. Zooming in a little bit, as you are updating your profile, some of you probably already have built out profiles, so you'll want to get in and update it. Some of you guys might be starting from scratch, but you're first going to want to make sure that you are platform and identity verified. Getting that little blue check mark that you can see next to Natalie's name in the top right of the screen tells a college coach that she is a real athlete who is serious about playing at the next level. You'll also want to write what I call a 5-star review. So not just here's my GPA, here's my ACT score, this is how high I jump, how fast I run, because college coaches can see your stats, but what makes you a strong addition to their program? What would your friends and college coaches and teammates say about you? And what do you do off the field? What are the things that make you an athlete they would want to be part of their program? And then lastly, you want to add an update video. Athletes with more recent video show up higher in college coach searches, and your video should really be a true representation of who you are today. So a little bit later, Matt will talk about some of your video options, but we want to make sure that if you're ever watching a video of yourself that's available online, it represents who you are right now. Zooming in a little bit on building and updating your favorite schools list, it's really important to take a broad view of schools and make sure that they're a good fit academically, athletically, geographically, socially, and financially. The younger you are, the more schools we recommend you have. So if you are a freshman right now, having 20 to 30, 40, 50 schools is great. As you get older, you'll learn more about what you're looking for, what your level of play will be, and you can narrow down that list. I know I mentioned this already, but just a reminder, adding a school to your favorites list in our system means that college coaches will see that you're interested in them. If you're at an event that's using Event Beacon, then college coaches will be able to see right there on the roster that you are interested in them. Just giving yourself a little leg up. Within a sports recruit system, you have the ability to utilize our school search tools to find schools that meet all of those buckets I listed on the past slide. So where is this school? Is it close, far from home? Does it have the major that I'm looking for? Can I get in there? Is it academically rigorous enough? What athletic division and conference is it play in? And for some of you, depending on the sport, you might also see a roster needs match, which tells you that that school is looking for an athlete with your skills. So definitely want to get in here, dig around. You're likely to find schools that you might not have realized were a good fit or an option for you. Couple of additional tips that we don't really have listed anywhere, but I was a recruiting coordinator for a long time, and these are things that I would tell athletes who wanted to play in college. First, on our school pages, we have video from all of the recent commits to schools. So you can see, I'm interested in going to Clemson. Let me watch some video from a kid who recently committed there and then ask myself, am I the same level as an athlete? Do I have some work to do? Maybe use that to help you set goals. The next would be to lean on your advocates. Take the time to talk about your favorites list with your teachers, your guardians, your parents, your coaches, and get their perspective. It's likely they have ideas of schools for you that you wouldn't have thought of, and they might even have personal connections to help you get in or get connected. And then lastly, analyze your views. Your views, which we'll talk about a little bit more in depth, will help figure out whether a school is interested or not. But you'll have to keep your recruiting calendar in mind as well. So if I am a freshman and I am getting tons of views from college coaches, but no messages, that's actually okay because college coaches aren't allowed to message me yet. If I'm a senior or junior and I'm reaching out and sending lots of messages and I'm getting a couple of views but no responses, that might signal to me that it's time for me to focus on other schools because the schools I'm reaching out to don't seem to be interested. This is a look at the SportsRecruits messaging system. So all you'll have to do when you get in there, click messages, start typing in the name of a school that you're interested in. This is Clemson here. The name of the coach will automatically populate, and then you can just send a message as normal. When the message hits the college coach's inbox, it doesn't look like it's coming from SportsRecruits. It looks like it's coming from you directly. And as you can see here, Marty Carter is linked in the email signature. So when you send a message through the SportsRecruits system, a college coach is able to click on that link and access your profile directly from there. When they do so, we're able to help generate college coach views as well, which just gives us an idea of who's been looking at your profile, and we can let you know. Just because I saw a good number of people have joined recently, I wanted to name for you that we have the chat open, so you can drop any questions in the chat as we're going, and we will do our best to get to those. But let's dive a little bit more deeply into messages to send to college coaches. So before events season or during event season, but before a tournament, these are the 3 types of messages it's really important to send to college coaches. First is just an introduction message. Who are you? Where are you from? What position do you play? Where do you go to school? What's your grad year? And where do you play club or travel ball? Next is a preseason message, and your preseason and introduction messages can be combined in one depending on where you are in the process. But you want to share your full season schedule with college coaches as soon as possible. This allows college coaches to figure out where the athletes are that they want to see as they're building their recruiting schedule for where they're going to travel. Third is a pre-event message. So share your tournament and game schedules when you have them ahead of a tournament. For some tournaments, that might be 8 days, 10 days in advance. For others, it might be as few as 3. But include information like your field number, your jersey color, what time you're playing, anything a college coach needs to find you. This little helpful hint comes from conversations we've had with college coaches, but if you're at a tournament, it's possible you might be getting view notifications or messages from college coaches while you're there. It is really important that you are the one responding. So college coaches do not want to hear from parents or guardians. They want to hear from you, the athlete. Take the time to include a personal line or a message. Let them know that you really did your research and you really want to talk to them, because college coaches can tell if it's a blast message that you just sent out to a bunch of people and they're not likely to respond. In case you don't want to take it from me, here are a couple of quotes from really reputable college coaches who have shared the same thing. So the Xavier men's head soccer coach says that he notices when kids have a genuine enthusiasm for their program and have been following them and know what's going on with their program. And similarly, Kelly Blackhurst, who's a field hockey college coach, said it's never too early to get started. So send those messages as early as you want. 8th grade is not too early, but make sure you're including the correct college name. If you're sending out blast messages and she sees it and it's obvious that it wasn't designated for them, she says there's nothing worse than that. Speaking of sending messages early, I did see a question come through the chat that says, when should you start setting up a profile? Freshman, sophomore, junior year. It's never too early to set up a profile, especially a free profile on the platform, because it's never too early to start reaching out to college coaches. If you are reaching out as an 8th grader or 9th grader and letting college coaches know where to come watch you, sharing your film, they're generating their ideas for who they want to be recruiting in the future right now. So when the time comes for them to be able to come contact you and talk to you and you're a junior, they already have an idea of who those kids are they want to talk to. You don't want to wait until the last minute. So set yourself up early. At the very least, you have a chance to really get an idea of where you might want to go to school so that when your junior year comes, you're not in a panic trying to scramble last minute. All right, that's all pre-event, pre-season stuff. Let's talk about what to expect during an event. So on the SportsRecruits platform, there are a couple different types of views that you might get, and these are especially true during event season where you're messaging more, posting more, and engaging with coaches via Event Beacon. So this first one on the left here is a profile view. This means that a college coach clicked on your profile and started scrolling and looking at your information. The number one way we generate these is when you send a message, because the link to your profile is included in your email signature. So college coaches don't have to hunt for you. These will also be generated if a college coach types your name into Google and pulls up your profile, or if they look for an athlete that is your caliber and you come up in the athlete search tools, excuse me. On the right, you'll see a video view. A video view means that a college coach clicked play and started watching one of the videos that you have loaded onto your profile. Both indications that there's a reason they're looking at your profile, potentially interested. And the third type of view that athletes in field hockey, lacrosse, and soccer will see is an event beacon view. So it looks slightly different from the last two views I showed you. But as you can see on the left, this coach is holding their phone, and they can use their phone to recruit at Event Beacon events using the app. So this type of view that you see on the right, Franklin and Marshall College watched you playing game film from IDEB President's Cup. This means that the college coach watched the game and you were on the roster for one of the teams that played in that game. This doesn't necessarily mean they went to watch that game just to watch you, but it means they had an opportunity to potentially see you play. So what do we do with all this stuff? You're getting views from college coaches. You might want to reach out to them. There's a few things you need to ask yourself first. First, am I interested in this program? Have I talked to the coach before? Am I at this level? Are they at the level that I'm looking for? And then finally, what do my notifications tell me? If you're only getting these views, it's difficult to tell if they were trying to watch you or trying to watch someone else from your team. But if I get this type of view from Event Beacon and a profile view or a video view, that tells me most likely the college watched the film, was interested in learning more about me, came to my profile or video. So if you're seeing those, that's probably a good indicator that they might be interested. If you're feeling lost, feeling overwhelmed, lean on your advocates, talk to your coaches, talk to other people that are part of your program to get an idea of if you should follow up. This is just a little tip because we talk to college coaches and they tell us what really drives them crazy. You're probably going to get these views while you're at a tournament or an event. And you might want to walk up to the coach and say, hey, you just viewed my profile. Do not go up to college coaches when they're on the side of fields at events. They are working. So think of it as like, even though they're visible and close to you, they're actively there to do a job. And you going up to talk to them about recruiting is just not appropriate. It's okay to say hi as you walk past, but we don't want to sit there and try and corner them into having recruiting conversations on site. Just wait until after the event and thank them for coming. If you already have a relationship with them, obviously you can say hi, but otherwise let them do their jobs. I'm going to pass it over to Matt to talk to you guys a little bit about some ways that we can capture video during recruiting events.
Great. Thank you so much, Jasmine. And thank you guys so much for having this opportunity to talk to you guys about this incredibly important process. It's not a revolutionary concept to say video is king in the recruiting process. Your ability to showcase your skills on camera is one of the critical components when making the big step to the next level. Well, it's one thing to say that video is important. The trick comes with understanding how to capture and edit video in a way that won't make your head pop off. And that's where AI video technology can be your game changer, unless, of course, you have a full film crew sleeping in your house, which I'm going to say most of you probably don't. So my company, Pixelot's one of the originators of AI sports camera and analytics solutions. We've been in the industry for over a decade, and as a pioneer in AI-driven sports camera technology, Pixelot offers a complete solution designed to minimize effort and maximize efficiency when cutting together these game films. While we offer a variety of different camera solutions, our portable air camera that you see on the screen right now is our truly versatile option for student athletes such as yourself. It's easily set up on any field with algorithms designed to track every major sport, including any sport that's represented here. And our automatic AI tracking captures complete games effortlessly following the action while you focus on what you do best. Now, if you'll see from the screenshot here, the bottom half of the screen is showing basically a standard fixed panoramic view that you can capture with any camera. Now, it gets the job done, but you're missing these elements. You're missing when the camera gets closer, when things get cut off from the actual screen. Now, with Pixelot, as you'll see, this is an example of AI algorithm. No one is controlling the camera. Automatically, you just set it, you leave it at a fixed angle at midfield, and it'll capture and follow the action and zoom in on the actual action as it's coming together. It's a portable, it's a simple setup. Like I said, tracks all major sports. And as we'll talk about later with the Pixelot U mobile app and the platform itself, you'll have unlimited recordings, unlimited video uploads. You'll have access to advanced coaching analytics through our VidSwap analytics program. So I'd love to turn back to Jasmine, and I'll come back a little bit later to talk about what happens after the event.
Awesome. Thank you. I did see a couple questions come in, so I just wanted to answer them. I was trying to type really quickly in the chat. One of them says, is this Pixelot for soccer only? Can it be used for lacrosse? And so I know Matt can probably speak to that as well, but with our Event Beacon partner events we've been doing lately, there have been Pixelot cameras that have been used, and those are all lacrosse events. So definitely can be used for lacrosse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all major sports, especially the ones that we have here, field hockey, lacrosse, soccer, all represented.
Awesome. Great questions. Keep those questions coming. I will keep an eye on the chat. We've got about 4 in there right now, so I'll do my best to get to all of them, but I want to keep flowing through as well. In addition to capturing video during your events, you want to be really mindful of the intangibles. So this just means that college coaches are always watching everything you do from the second you arrive at an event till the second you get back in your car. And attitude is everything. Our team met with field hockey coaches across the country, and the word attitude was the recurring theme and what they're looking for in recruits. So encourage your teammates. If you're playing, if you're on the sidelines, don't have a sour look on your face if you get pulled from a game. Be a strong teammate. Be mindful of how you move when you aren't involved in the play. So they want to see if you're just as invested if you're on or off ball. Are you taking plays off? Are you actively involved the whole time? All of that really matters. there are no small plays. I think a lot of the times our brains go, well, I didn't score that many goals, or I didn't have this big moment, or I didn't have the right number of assists, whatever it is. But in reality, a coach can watch you have your worst game in terms of like skills and still see so much potential in who you are as an athlete that they want as part of their program. So be mindful that how you carry yourself is very important. And then, of course, this should be a given, but make sure you show respect. We're all intense. I was an intense athlete, but you want to be respectful to referees, coaches, and opponents alike, because your reputation stays with you from the time that you start competing until you hang up your jersey for the last time. Couple of coaches here just to reiterate what we're talking about. We've got a women's soccer coach here, as well as a men's lacrosse and US Hall of Fame coach. Both say that character is what they look for when they are recruiting. Your ability to come back from mistakes, work through adversity is really important, but also selflessness. This idea that college coaches can take a good player and make them a lot better if they have the right attitude and they're the right kind of kid, but they can't make a great player a great person. So whether you're having your best day on the field or your worst, just be mindful of these things. All right, so that is before and during events. I saw some questions come through about after an event, so this is a great time to talk about those. First, your event is over. You need to be working on your highlight reels. Keeping those highlight reels up to date is super important. You should always have a highlight reel available to college coaches that showcase your current ability. And in addition to your skills, that also means field vision, IQ, body language, hustle, stamina, professionalism, as well as your physical tools. So when you're watching clips and maybe you're like, all of these are pretty good representations of what I'm doing physically, I don't know which ones to pick. Look for the ones that include examples of these things, showing your hustle plays. I'm not going to read all of these details because I know we have soccer, field hockey, lacrosse athletes and families on this webinar, so I don't want to spend too much time with any one sport, but take a look at this slide here for your sport and notice that there are some trends across sports. But in soccer, quick tip to put goals at the beginning. Field hockey, make sure you're showing stick skills and body positioning. And lacrosse, it's not just about your goals, it's also about your versatility. I just saw a question come in, what if you're a defensive player and you just don't really score a lot of goals? Understandable, that wouldn't be the focus of your highlight reel, but you want to make sure that you're showcasing your versatility. So are you quick, tall, athletic? Are you good with both feet? Are you how do you recover after a mistake? Are you in any like 50-50 or head-to-head challenge with other athletes? Are you physically tough? There's a lot of different skills that you can demonstrate without needing to focus too heavily on the big moments like scoring goals. If you have questions and you play these sports and you're like, I am a goalkeeper, or I am like a specific player where I don't feel like this really gets to my needs, just send us a message at help@sportsrecruits.com. We have position by position guides, and we can give you a better idea of what your position and sport should include in their highlight reels. This is just an overview. All right, so you've competed, you're ready to make your highlight reels, you know what you want to put in there, and now you have to actually build them. You can use both panoramic video and still video of the full field in the SportsRecruits highlight reel editor. You'll just switch the view from panoramic to non-panoramic, depending on the type of video you have. Simple enough. You can use any video that you have as long as it's originally from, like you originally own the video. It's not embedded from YouTube or another site. And then you can start cutting the clips, adding them to your reel, giving them a description and a title. If you would like them to be professionalized, so if you want to add isolation effects or a title card, then you can submit that to be professionalized by our team as well. The great thing about this is that you can go into past reels that you've made and maybe just swap out a couple of clips. So if you don't feel like you're at a place in the recruiting process where you have to be starting from scratch and you have just a couple changes that you need to make along the way, you can swap out old clips for new and better representations of what you're capable of doing now. Matt, I'll toss it over to you for some more tips for what to do after an event.
Great. Thanks, Jasmine. Yeah. So guys, after it's been a full day of recording, and capturing, with hours of battery life on the Pixel Air, you can really have it out as long as you want on the field, capturing as much as you need to, multiple storage units available to really make sure that you are completely independent and can do what you need to do, and the camera follows you around. So the game is complete. You go back to the hotel room, go back to your house. You can upload the full game film to the Pixel.U cloud platform, which is our editing and sharing solution. And what's really fascinating about this, speaking to the highlight reel that Jasmine was talking about earlier, is that critical moments like goals are automatically clipped with the AI algorithm and platform. So you can easily pull that is automatically taken out from the beginning. Additionally, you can easily look to cut some more game film into clipping and editing, much like Jasmine was talking about the SportsRecruits tool as well. And through this platform, you can view your content, share it with your teammates and family members, or download for additional uses with no problem whatsoever. So what's fascinating is that coming later this summer, we're really excited to announce that we'll be fully integrating with SportsRecruits, which means that you'll be able to simply drag and drop these game clips and highlights that are either generated by the AI or manually captured by you from the U platform to your SportsRecruits profile. Just simply drag and drop. No tedious downloading and uploading. You can just simply pick it up, pull it over, pop it in there. It's all designed to really be a way to simplify the process and keep your profile constantly updated with the latest and greatest content for coaches and recruiters to see of the things you guys have going on the field. AI is definitely a thing that has captured the hearts and minds of the world at this point, but Pixelot is dedicated to have AI being the way that makes life easier for you guys in an already complex process in the recruiting process. So with AI, we are able to generate a way for you guys to be able to generate your own content and generate your own video the most seamless way possible and get yourself in the best possible foot in front of the next level.
Awesome. Thank you. I was just answering more questions. We've had some really great questions come through. Just make sure after you ask a question, you're taking a look back to see if there's an answer. And then for some of you guys, I shot you a follow-up question. So if you can get back to me, I can hopefully get you the best answer before we get out of here today. Awesome. So as you're building highlight reels, just another college coach perspective moment here. But what stands out to this college coach who is a women's lacrosse coach is that competitive drive, fundamentals, and type of teammate and attitude are the big things. So fundamentals obviously have to be there, the skills, the discipline, but what sets you apart from all of the other athletes who have the physical skills are those intangibles that she's listed here. Awesome. So I had a question come through about if I can't talk to a coach at an event, when do I talk to them? Following an event, you definitely want to reach out to college coaches who came to watch you play and say thank you, ask for feedback. This is a great opportunity to start building a relationship and also reassess your standing with that school. This is an example template that you can send. So just thanks for coming to watch. I'm excited about being part of your school or program. Take an extra moment to add a personal note about why you care about that program. Insert your contact information for your advocate, your club coach, and then also try and figure out when you can get yourself back in front of them again. In short, just make it personal, make the goal to be figuring out whether they are still interested and establishing that relationship. All right, recruiting best practices. These are just some overarching, could be before, during, after, for the life cycle of your recruiting process, best practices and tips. First, social media. Remember that everything you do online has the potential to impact your recruiting process. Social media, we're all using it. It actually can be an amazing tool for you as a student athlete. But you just want to make sure you avoid a few things because nothing is ever private. Even if you're sending a DM or a private message, it can still come out. So we want to avoid negative comments about coaches, teammates, opponents, or referees, really anybody. We also want to avoid sharing, liking, or commenting on inappropriate or offensive posts. Even if it's not your post, liking and interacting with the post still can be a red flag for recruiters. And then lastly, any interactions that can be viewed as bullying or harassment or discrimination, we want to make sure to stay away from entirely. There are some examples here on the slide of college coaches tweeting about no longer recruiting an athlete because of the actions they took on social media. So you just want to be super mindful. A 2-second tweet that you send getting in the way of where you want to spend 4 years of school is just not worth it. There's a little note on this slide too, if we have any families with us today, just to be mindful that your actions also can have an impact on your student athlete. Obviously, your kid is the most important kid in the world to you, but there are college coaches who will actively not recruit an athlete because of the parent and the way that the parent acts. So just keep those things in mind as well when things are getting a little bit heated. Longtime coach Rudy Rodiger said that social media can be such a positive avenue, but it's just important that prospects are mature in what they say or post. He has personally removed scholarships, reduced scholarships, pulled them from the table because of social media. So just be smart. So what does being smart look like? Here's what you should do on social media. First, share updates during your events. Get on there, tweet. The first example we have on the top of the screen says 2-0 the first day at Lax for the Cure. Great way to keep people updated on how your team is performing and celebrate your wins. Tag your teammates in your club and the hosts for the event as well. Give shout outs. Use hashtags to become discoverable and to be higher up in the college coach searches as well. You also want to share any new highlight reels or video and include links to your SportsRecruits profile there so that coaches can know where to learn more about you as an athlete. You also want to follow and interact with your favorite programs and college coaches. College coaches are on social media too, so follow their program, share, like all of the stuff that they're sending out as well. Celebrate major wins in your sport, keep up with sport news. And then if you have something creative, like you have these really cool stick skills that you honed during COVID when you were trapped in your house, put those on social media. It can be a short clip, but anything that can catch a recruiter's eye and maybe get you trending is recommended. We're getting really close to the end here, so thanks for hanging with us, guys. We're almost done, but the importance of video here cannot be overstated. Coaches are 11 times more likely to send messages to athletes with videos on their profiles. So if you're wondering if video matters, it does. Public video makes you appear higher in searches and will make you 3 times more likely to commit than an athlete that doesn't have video on their profile. You also want to make sure that you're planning ahead. So if you know that you have an event coming up that is not included in the IWLC Recruits event bundle, or the mom who usually records for your team isn't going to be there, figure out who's going to be capturing quality video for you because you need it. Also have a mix of types of video. So full game film, highlight reels, skills videos. That way college coaches can get lots of different looks at your ability. You want to keep your reels to 3-ish minutes. 3 minutes and 18 seconds is about the sweet spot. But 5 minutes is the maximum. And the more video you post, the better. Finally, this slide looks like a lot of information, so I'm not going to read it all to you, but I know for all the student athletes that have joined us today, it can be so overwhelming to have a conversation with a college coach. I get that. Over the phone, in person, it can be really overwhelming. So it's important to have elevator pitches and prepare what you want to say when a college coach asks you a question. If they say, what do you like to do outside of your sport? You don't want to go, video games, and that's it, right? You want to have an answer that's prepared, sounds professional, mature, and you can expand on to keep the conversation going. So take a look at those questions. On the right-hand side, you should also be prepared to ask questions that show you've done your research. So you don't want to ask, what conference are you in? That's available on the internet. Instead, you should be asking questions like, what are the core values of your program and how do you build those? Or what advice do you have someone in my position? those questions show that you are really invested in the recruiting process and also want to learn more about the school that you couldn't just find from a quick Google search. Again, this is recorded, but if you want to screenshot these, have them in mind. The kids I work with directly one-on-one, I get on the phone with them and have them practice delivering their answers to these and asking questions like these. Generate them in a note in your phone, because you will be surprised how quickly these things leave your brain when you're standing face to face with a college coach on a field or on their campus. So practice what you want to say so that when the moment comes, you can just relax and feel comfortable. I'm going to pop up the recap here. So just a recap of what we talked about, it's on the left-hand side. So for each of the key parts of the event season, before, during, after, and overall, those points are there on the left for you. And then if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. We've just got a couple minutes left, but if we're not able to answer your questions live, then you can reach out to us at help@sportsrecruits.com and we'll definitely be able to get you an answer. What about after a game? Should a player visit the recruiter? I would always start with a message. So after the event, shoot them an email. If you're of recruiting age, you can maybe give them a call depending on what their preference is listed on their website. You want to make sure that the college coach knows you're coming. So if you're coming for a camp or a showcase on their campus, don't just show up unknown to the coach. It's not the best investment of your money to show up to a camp where you haven't had a conversation with the coach yet. And obviously you don't want to talk to a recruiter, like ambush them after an event if they don't know that you're coming. So definitely make sure they know. Sometimes for like our juniors and seniors in the room, college coaches will say, come say hi after your game on Friday. And so that is a clear invitation that you should walk up and say, thank you for coming. How are you? But keep in mind with recruiting rules, if you're younger, they literally can't talk to you. So it would just be a waste of time. If SAT scores are not optimal, what does it make sense to include them? I would say yes, because if the SAT is optional for a school, having it listed shouldn't preclude you from being able to get into the school. So I say yes, it's still worth it. It's good for them to know. If you go through the whole recruiting process, it's not like they're not going to find out your academic ability. I had teammates who had lower SAT or ACT scores, but my college coach really still wanted them and was like, cool, now I know what we're working with and I can help you go through the process of applying to the school to make sure that you're supported and get in. So I don't think you want to hide anything. Especially if you're still in the process of being recruited for multiple schools, because you might have another school on your list where the SAT is required. Our college coaches, just so everyone here knows, on the college coach end, they can filter by certain things. And so if the SAT is important to them, they can click SAT score posted. And if you don't have one, then you won't show up in that search. So the more information, the better. There's a Pixelot question in here, Matt. I don't know if we want to get to it now or later, but is Pixelot for individuals or for teams?
Yeah, easy, quick question. The answer is both. We have plans for individuals, so you can buy a Pixelot Air yourself with a subscription. Your club or your team is also completely able to have a team-based platform that you could buy multiple Airs depending on your situation. We have an existing one that's not as applicable for this thing, but with a partnership with the National Federation for High Schools, where any high school athletic program would have access to a Pixelot fixed camera solution. And then additionally, our VidSwap analytics solution, which is advanced coaching analytics that really takes what you gather in your video game film and it takes it to the next level 100% with incredible game film and automatically generated highlights, percentage stats, all that type of stuff, all kind of comes in there. So, and you can look at those elements later as we go into that, but we'll have contact information on the next slide for if you're interested in pursuing either of those.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. We just had a really good question come in, and I'm sure this is not the only person here who's got a question about camps, showcases. Should I go? Is it worth it? So this person said, if I'm really interested in a program, I'm willing to pay to go to the camp. I contact the coach ahead of time. If the school's not interested, are they going to tell me? And the answer is maybe, but maybe not. So if you are debating whether it's worth going to a camp, I would first be really honest with yourself, talk to your advocates, look at their recent commits, and see if you are the level of athlete that really could compete at that school. Next, if you are in the lacrosse or soccer spaces, I would look at roster needs on the platform under the schools tab to see if that school is currently recruiting for a position that you play and that you meet the requirements. And then last, if you are a junior or senior and you are of age where the college coach is able to talk to you, if you've been reaching out repeatedly, if they've seen your video and seen your profile and they haven't responded, then it's probably not worth spending the money. You want to really make sure that you're able to connect with them. If they've had opportunities to see you play already and they haven't sent you a personal camp invite, that would tell you something. You can tell if an invite is personal or mass. So a personal invite is going to say, hey, so-and-so, got to see you play at this place, would love to see you at camp. Are you able to come out this summer? Versus a mass email, which will have the school heading at the top. It'll be addressed to dear so-and-so family. You can kind of tell that it's not personal to you. It's not going to mention seeing you play anywhere. It's going to have a lot more information, be a longer email. And that usually can tell you that that's being sent out in mass. We have a webinar that I recommend for you to take a look at, which is specifically about these events. So like the breakdown of the different types of events, when it's worth it or when it's not. And it's called Breaking Down Events. So definitely check that out. It's on our webinars page. Let us know. I'm typing that into the chat for you as well. Let us know if that doesn't answer your question. Reach out at help@sportsrecruits.com. We'll be happy to answer it. Yeah, sure thing. Cool. Speaking of webinars, last page I wanted to show you guys here. We have 2 webinars coming up on the Sports Recruit side of things. July 11th, the importance of video, and July 25th, building your target list of schools. Definitely register for those and check them out. If tonight was helpful for you, that's going to go even more in depth. And then if you have questions, email us at help@sportsrecruits.com. Matt, do you want to say anything about the Pixel side?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our email us here. That goes to a direct sales rep. It's based in the US. Gavin, wonderful guy, great to work with, who's more than happy to walk you through a demo of the technology itself and talk to you more about the plans that we have. We're a maximum value company. We're really focused on the democratization of sports, making sure everyone has the opportunity. And the final thing I do want to mention that obviously this is a global company, Pixelat, but we have a strong presence in America. Most of our customer success managers are based in the US. Anybody that you talk to on this end is going to be in your neck of the woods and is more than happy to talk you through any tech issues or anything that you might have to deal with as you become a customer with the program. But I just want to say it's been a pleasure to talk to all of you guys. Best of luck in a very crazy time. And we look forward to Pixelat hopefully kind of being your ace in the hole as you put these pieces together.
I have one question that came through. So for the handful of you that hung out till the very, very end, I do just want to answer it because I bet it applies to some of you. Last question, should you really limit the position you play? So if you play more than one position, if that applies to you, this question's for you. If you play multiple positions and you have film of yourself playing each of those positions, whether it's 2 or 3, then it's okay to list all of them on your profile. Just make sure it's clear to a college coach when they're opening a highlight reel what they're going to see. So there's 2 ways to break that down. First would be to have like, this is my attack reel, my middle reel, midi reel, my defense reel. Okay, that's fine. The other is to have one highlight reel from an event where it's broken down first 2 minutes attack, first 2 minutes midi, last 2 minutes defense. So just make sure that it's really clear what college coaches are looking at. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much. Please do follow up with us if you have questions. We're here to help. And best of luck this season.
Thanks, guys.